Hi everyone, I'm Dawn. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for visiting with me today. You all will have to please forgive me. I'm dealing with an illness right now, and I'm also having an allergic reaction to something, so this eye is swollen and I'm stopped up and I'm feverish and I'm just not having a good time tonight. I call it the crowd crud whenever I go someplace crowded like a convention or Disney World or something. A lot of times when I come home, I get sick within 24 hours after returning home. It's just, and I hear it's pretty common, so just bear with me. But again, welcome to my channel. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel. We do all kinds of things here on the cutting board. We do, excuse me, we do true crime, SFX makeup, DIY, food content, hauls, vlogs, and Disney content. I have a lot of interest and I want to share them with you. So I was talking with a friend of mine and we were discussing the phenomena of people who use illnesses and disorders to excuse bad behavior. Not Munchausen by proxy, but a type of malingering. But if you call them out on it, you're the bad guy and you have no compassion. You know what I mean? And according to the lemons, that is, you don't have any compassion. But people do use illnesses as excuses. And I'm, again, not talking about Munchausen. I'm talking about malingering for sympathy and personal gain. And it happens more than you probably realize. Like, some people are just so used to doing it that they don't even know when they're doing it, you know? So, oh, I have 4 nipples. Please contribute to my GoFundMe. You know what I mean? We all know someone like that. Some of us know more than one person like that. That being said, the show Dr. Odyssey was recommended to me by a lovely subscriber and friend of mine. It's an American medical drama. It was created by Ryan Murphy, and it stars Don Johnson as Captain Robert Massey and Joshua Jackson as Dr. Max Bankman. He's Dr. Odyssey. Ryan Murphy, you know, he hasn't really been impressing me much lately, but, you know, I gave it a watch anyway. And the show premiered on ABC on September 26, 2024. So it's a very, very new show. It's very new. Does anyone remember Don Johnson's awful single, Heartbeat? Does anyone remember that? Eek. But he's gorgeous. He's still gorgeous. I did have the 45 of that song, Heartbeat. I did. And I just actually watched the music video for it. It's bad. And I completely forgot that Dweezil Zappa was involved with that. I forgot about Dweezil. But I loved Don Johnson back in the day. I did. I think I had that whole album, actually. Yeah, I still like him, but nothing like I did during his Sonny Crockett Miami Vice days. I think I was in the 10th grade when I was just really into him. I loved Miami Vice. What an epic show. So anyway, back to Dr. Odyssey. I watched a very interesting episode last night, guest starring John Stamos. You know, I feel like John Stamos is always a good jumping off point. Although I will admit, I always found Uncle Jesse to be kind of creepy. I did. I hated him in Full House. But anyway, John Stamos plays Craig. He's Captain Massey's younger brother, and he's a recovered alcoholic. And he hadn't had a drink in 15 years. So he arrives for a gay week on the ship with his 2 partners. But Captain Massey notices that Craig is acting as if he's intoxicated, you know, slurring his words, you know, acting silly. But Craig denies, you know, drinking any alcohol. And his partner, Brian, who is played by the very cute Ryan Murphy regular Cheyenne Jackson, also believes that Craig has been drinking. And Craig hits his head and is knocked unconscious, so is seen by, oh, spoiler alert, by the way, but he's seen by the ship's doctor, Max, again played by Joshua Jackson. You know him, Pacey from Dawson's Creek. Another cutie. He is pretty cute, but Pacey creeped me out too. But this episode should have been called A Few Good Unattainable Men. Anyway, Craig still swears he hasn't been drinking, but the lab results show that his blood alcohol content is very high. But he still, even after that, swears he has not been drinking. So they go and search his room, and it's discovered that he's been taking medication for acid reflux, which contributed to Brewery syndrome, as the medication disrupts the gut microbiome. So of course I went down a rabbit hole because, I take medication for acid reflux, so that made me nervous. And I kind of knew what Brewery syndrome was, but never looked too deeply into it. I didn't think I had it or anything. I just never looked into it. But so now I have looked into it. It's also known as gut fermentation syndrome. It's usually, from what I understand, easily controlled with diet and, sometimes a change in medications. Diet helps because carbs are fermented by bacteria in the gastrointestinal tract, and it produces too much alcohol, which can't be properly metabolized by the liver. And that causes a buildup of alcohol in the blood, causing a high blood alcohol content, which leads to intoxication in the person. Bread, man, it's going to try and kill you. But it's a rare condition, but many medical professionals believe that it's underdiagnosed and probably isn't really all that rare. It's just underdiagnosed. And ABS is when yeast overgrowth in the small intestine leads to ethanol fermentation, but I just explained that to you, sorry. So it's getting drunk without consuming alcohol. So I just thought it was really interesting that it was brought up on this show. I've been hearing that, Brewery syndrome a lot lately. But me being cynical, I feel like people may use this as an excuse, No, I'm not drunk. I have Brewery syndrome. I just had too much bread. And I read on Science Direct that the syndrome, it's been used as a malingering tactic to avoid or attempt to avoid prosecution for alcohol intoxication on crimes related to that, such as DUI. And people with Brewery syndrome can drive. They should just be responsible and, follow that no carb diet and possibly antifungal treatment, and just be really careful, because you are drunk from this. And it's not their fault. It's not like the patient's fault if, they have this. So, if a doctor can verify that that's what they had, it will help them. But, I just, how I am. But, and carbs can be slowly reintroduced. From what I researched, it's a highly controllable condition. Bread is so wonderful, but it's a little troublemaker, isn't it? Bread, pasta, all of it's so good, but troublemaker. I can see how people might learn about this, never actually be diagnosed, just kind of learn about it and then read about it, never being diagnosed by a doctor, but lean on it as an excuse for like drunk behavior. But, there is a wealth of information about ABS online. But if you do look into it, make sure you read scholarly articles because they are, they're going to provide the most reliable, accurate information about it. It actually, in my opinion, it sounds awful to me. We don't drink in this household. And people with ABS can suffer from hangovers, and that's awful. I had a hangover one time, and that is why I do not drink. My son does not drink. My husband does not drink. This condition, it can also contribute to liver damage, and sufferers can also have the smell of alcohol on their breath, and all of the other effects of drinking alcohol. That's kind of sad, really. You don't even drink alcohol and you have to deal with this. So, if you don't drink, I'm sorry, and you feel drunk sometimes, maybe go to your doctor and get some help with that. See if a antifungal might hurt, because it does. It sounds awful. But this just seems to me like a really good condition to use if a person does in fact want to, malinger or explain away bad behavior, and actually, get sympathy for it. They may not even really be drunk. They're just trying to get sympathy. There are certainly extremely very volatile behaviors linked to alcohol use, which perpetrators of these behaviors can look into using auto brewery syndrome as their excuse. And I do believe the syndrome actually exists. I do believe it exists. I just think it's something that can be, again, abused as, an excuse for a lot of negative behavior. And that's unfortunate for those who really do have this condition, that people who don't have it would utilize it that way. But anyway, that's all I have to say about it. Do you watch Dr. Odyssey? If you do, what do you think of the show? Did you watch Miami Vice or Dawson's Creek? What do you think of Ryan Murphy Productions? I'm just not real impressed with him lately. I have liked some of his older stuff, but I just feel like he's very patronizing and what's the word I'm looking for? Pandering. He panders to his audience, and I think it's gross, and it's completely transparent. But that doesn't really have anything to do with the topic of this video. But that's all for this video. Let me know what you think in the comments with kind comments. I will not tolerate rudeness to myself or to anyone. So, if you decide to take that direction, just know you will be screaming into the void. This was just a plain old video. There's no reason to get hostile or angry. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll talk to everyone later. Bye.